Good evening and welcome to another Monday night live with Dough Dog Prepper. Uh, Hope everybody is doing well today. Hope everybody had a good weekend. And for all you fathers, I hope all of you had a great Father's Day. Happy Father's Day late to all of you. Um, Hope it was a good day. So I didn't didn't have any special plans yesterday. Um, it asked about the kids coming over and whatnot, and nobody really said anything. And then everybody showed up, so uh, almost all the kids came over yesterday, and with the grandkids, and it was a good time. Grilled out, grilled some hot dogs and chicken and burgers, all the normal stuff. So say hello to some of you fine people in this chat. Mad Shad, welcome in, welcome in. Good to see you, brother. Greetings from the Erie Coast. Awesome. Sherry, welcome in. Gypsy, good to see you. Who else we got in here? We got Creative Redundancy in the building. And the one and only Holly Ivans. I hope Mr. Ivans had a good Father's Day. We have coffee first, then speak in the chat. All right. See who else. We got Southern Tier Prepper. We got the Ohio Snitch, Teresa Buchanan in the building. All right. Good to see you as well. Ohio Valley Prepping. And we'll move on and see who else we got in here. Katrinka. Good to see you. Scott Hummer. Welcome in, welcome in. And let's see who else. Man, it's warm in here. I yet to turn the air conditioner on. We'll try to go as long as we can without it. Sherry, welcome in, welcome in. And let's see who else. Grit and Grace, the farming florist, is in the chat. Good to see you. Love and Life, welcome in and good to see you. I actually have a package for you. So I don't know if I have your address or not, but just in case, if you could give me an email at doughDogPrepper@gmail.com. I'll send you a text and let you know that too. Who else do we have in here? Missed out on some chat. So what did you fathers do? Anything exciting yesterday? Let me know in the chat what all you guys did yesterday. KP Heathen. Good to see you, my friend. It was a busy day today. I had some woodworking I had to get done. Created a couple of new things. My normal flags that I've been doing are 24 inches by 13 inches. And I have plans or had the specs for a bigger one. And I cut that up today, and holy crap, it's a big one. So it's 37 inches long by 19 and a half inches tall. So once I get that done, I will show everybody. Lil Lone Prepper, welcome in. Good to see you. Hope things are good in your neck of the wood. JD Prepping Erie from up north in the state of Michigan. Good to see you. Any of you fathers do anything exciting? Trying to see in the chat here. I gotta invest in the fan down here. Oh, I want a big flag. All right. Gotcha. It's gonna be cool. I'm excited about getting that one done. I finished up a few more cutting boards, and what I'm most excited about is I have the green. I finally picked out a green for my military flags and for my military crosses and whatnot. So I couldn't wait, and I painted up a few pieces, and it's gonna look pretty badass. So, but once I get some of the stuff done, I will post some pictures uh, on my community wall. CR says, "How's the plants growing?" The plants are growing awesome. I went out there today, just a little bit ago, to check on them. Haven't had to water them since it's been raining so much. So I have some peppers already growing. I got some Hungarian hots that are about that big. So the pups are going crazy. See you, CB Farmer. Good to see you. Yeah, the plants are doing well. I have 3 containers of different kinds of lettuces, and so I've been plucking some of those out and having some fresh salads. So that's good. My green beans are growing like crazy. I got a couple different kinds of those, but I'm excited about my carrots to see if they'll turn out better this year. Last year they looked like aliens because the soil was too compacted, so they didn't have the ability to grow. So, oh, mom must be home. That's why they're going nuts. Hi, Ivan says, husband keeps asking me to ask Devil Dog if you do a Confederate flag. I haven't. I probably could. I'll have to look into it and I'll let you know. She says her hubby is a redneck. No crime in that. Everybody else, garden doing good. Let's see what else we got going on here. Everybody's just saying hello to everybody. But yeah, my garden is growing good, and I'm glad I got it all done. I still have probably 20, 25 tomato plants that I don't have room for. So I'm trying to find someone that in my area that needs some tomato plants. The daughter came over and took as many as she could handle in her garden. So, and I still have 25 extra. JD says, mine's doing great until tonight when I went out to check on it. A woodchuck is eating about half of my cabbage. Oh no, that sucks. That's not good. Yeah, my daughter, she put in some new raised beds, and the deer are eating all of her plants. So that's why she came over and got some more tomato plants to replant some that they had already ate. So, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Ghost Lincoln, the engineer, is in the chat. Awesome. Hopefully, you had a good day. He said, time for unsanctioned shenanigans. There you go. Absolutely, Mad Chad. Woodchuck stew, JD. But yeah, I'm just stretched to no end with everything. Went to the wood shop today. Got some stuff done. Um, got a couple new boards made. They're gluing up. I mean, I glued them up and they're ready to go tomorrow. I'll get them out of the glue rack and scrape all the stuff off and get it in the line of sanding. Um, I didn't realize how much sanding I'd be doing, but these cutting boards take a lot of time. I did four of them over the weekend, and I have about 5 hours invested in just sanding four boards. So and that's including once I get it done, then I got to spray it with water and then let it dry. That's to raise the grain, and then I do a final sanding on it, and then it'll be good to go. Then I seal it up. But yes, happy 250th birthday to all you uh, soldiers in the chat. For anybody that served in the army, happy birthday. I find it ironic that all these people were complaining about the parade that the administration put on in Washington D.C. and the fact that it was already scheduled before um, Trump ever became president. I'm sure he added some stuff to it, but whatever. So I don't see anything wrong with it. I think they should do more of them. I don't think the military gets enough recognition on what they do. I mean, for the fact that um, they spent over 20 years fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they never had any welcome home parades or anything like that. Um, so I think it's good to see stuff like that, the parades, and people come out and flying their little American flags and whatnot. So, and who knows, maybe a youngster that goes to one of those parades will end up growing up to want to serve in the military and could be the next hero that we need. So the parade was a good um, distraction on the news from all the other crazy crap that's been going on all over the country and quite frankly all over the world. So Tuck by V1, welcome in, good to see you. Michael Wolf said the 250th military parade, that was awesome. It has been some awesome music going on in the background for. Yep, absolutely. It was pretty cool. They had the Army, I think it's Black Knights. I'm not, I could be wrong. The people that jump out of the planes and they delivered a flag to the president. That was pretty cool. At least you're keeping busy and not bored. Yep, absolutely. No time to be bored. So I got some good news for my college. So I have to fill out some applications, and if everything works out the way it should, then my college will be paid for, and I will not be incurring any debt for that. So that'll be cool, and I'm actually kind of excited about it. A little nervous. I've never been to college, so we'll see how it goes. Ghost Lincoln says, I thought it was funny that all the new King protests in my area looked like they emptied out the nursing homes. Yeah, I seen a little protest. Every little major city that, like around here, and I'm sure across the country, had some kind of protesting. And when I left the wood shop, they were out there waving the flag and their upside down American flag and all their homemade signs. That looks like a third grader did it. But I don't. I have better things to do with my time than go out there and scream at people and throw shit and whatnot because and I avoided it and because I didn't want to be put in a position to for anything bad to happen. So and I don't want to give them any of the attention that they're looking for. So, but yeah, Michael said the manufacturer made the military equipment paid for the parade. That was where the snowflakes can't cry because it's taxpayers' money. Yeah, they'll find something else to bitch about. You know, I just I don't get it. So, but yeah, just trying to get things done, and garden's going good. The woodworking is going good. I'm getting orders in. Got some more last night, and it's more than just the flags. And so I'm building anything out of wood. So if you know, a lot of people around my area have talked to me about building this or that. A lady last night stopped over at the house and wants me to build her a like a 12-inch wide by 36-inch long stand for her hallway. So that way, when her grandkids come over, they can put their phones and their tablets and everything on it and charge them. So, and she wants a couple other things built. I made these really cool hanging plant holders out of some 2x4s and 2x6s and some pocket hole screws and threw it together and stuck a welcome sign on there. And I've sold a couple of those already. And tomorrow I have my, I think it's number 4 of 6 farmers market. Um, I only signed up for the first half because I've done it before. And if they haven't bought it by week 6, they're not going to buy it. So there's no sense in wasting my time there. So, but yeah, Half Ass Ready says no validation for the idiots. Absolutely. So, anybody do anything fun or exciting this weekend before we get into our discussion about emergency prepping? Have a good night, love and life. Don't forget to send me an email. I'll send you a text to remind you, but I need to get your address if I don't already have it. I may already have it. So, CR says I would like to do more projects that let the experience ingrain in me. There you go. Absolutely. You know, I never knew. I mean, I've always wanted to get into woodworking, but this stuff for me it's fun. I just wish that I had the space to build more stuff. So I can only build so much, and then I gotta wait until I get that stuff sold. So, Tuck by V1 said just exercise. Awesome. There you go. Between all the steps and walking around and all the lifting and bending over and picking this up and doing all that kind of stuff, my weight loss journey is continuing. I think I'm down like 35 pounds or so. So, but welcome in, Steel and Tree, making a sign for my front door that says go away. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's all kinds of little wood things that I want to build that are going to be better for uh, selling the bigger ticketed items. I'm sure will sell just fine, but you got to find those people that are willing to spend that kind of money. So I do have some cutting boards that are don't have all the exotic wood in it, so they'll be a little bit cheaper um, than those. So, but all right, so we will get into the topic at hand. I was thinking um, the other day uh, about if an emergency happened, whether with all the stuff going on um, over in the Middle East, even here in the United States with all the protesting and whatnot. Um, if something were to happen and you're stuck at home, we've all stocked up on food and water and everything that we need. Your batteries, your flashlights, your power sources, your batteries, all that kind of stuff. Your toilet paper, whatnot. But if you're stuck at your house or your property, what are you going to do about human waste or trash? What are you going to do with the aluminum cans or the paper um, products or your human waste? Um, Obviously, if the water is still working, your toilets are still going, fine, I get that. But what happens if the water is shut off and the septic or the toilets aren't working? You're gonna have to go to the bathroom, and I'm not gonna be able to dig an outhouse on my property here. Obviously, in a bug out situation, I would have the room, but at my current location, if water were to shut off, and it don't even have to be based, for like a SHTF situation. What happens if the water plant or the sewer treatment plant shuts down for whatever reason? Um, you lose power because of maybe a tornado or whatever. Wherever you're from, you could have different things. So, um, Holly Evans says, I have an outhouse built with a 10-foot hole. I will bury my trash. There you go. Because I guess one of the things, um, Steel and Tree says, have a septic tank, dump water in it to flush. Okay, so then that brings in another situation is having the extra water in order to do that. So, um, I don't know if people think about this stuff. We talk about having water, and when I hear people talk about it, I think about water. Okay, to drink, to cook with, to bathe with. Um, but you need water if you're going to use your toilet in your house to be able to flush. If not, one of the things I have, well, I have a couple of them. Let's see what else people are saying here. Mega Wolf says, I keep you keep your gray water and put it in your toilet when you flush itself. Okay, there you go. CR says separate the stuff. Coffee first as a cesspool at her house. I just need water to flush. Rainwater will be fine. There you go. So that this is one of the things I wanted to talk about to get people to think um, when it comes to that. And I'm glad that you said that, Coffee, about the rainwater, having rainwater catchment systems, not only for maybe your garden or whatever, but also for stuff like using it for your toilet. Um, when the water is turned off or whatever. In a grid down situation or whatever emergency we're having, whether because of protesting or because of a storm, a tornado, hurricane, earthquake, whatever, whatnot, you got to have a way of getting rid of your human waste. We have some 5-gallon buckets with the plastic bags, and then we have a toilet seat that snaps right onto the top. So um, it reminded me of a time that we went camping. It was on a Memorial Day week. I think it was Memorial Day weekend. We took the family camping, and my buddy let me borrow his RV, and so it was a late uh, reservation. They didn't have any hookups for sewer at the campground. So I mean, they have them, but they didn't have any available. So uh, the rule was you could go number one in the camper, but you couldn't go number two. So if you had to go number two, you had to go to the actual bathrooms that the campground had. And then, but then it never dawned on me. Um, obviously, when females go to the bathroom, they use toilet paper no matter what, and so that kind of defeated the whole purpose of that uh, thing. And so, but you got to get rid of that stuff. So the 5 gallon buckets reminded me that um, I needed to stock up more on different ways of getting rid of it. If I'm stuck in this location here, um, what would I do? Okay, you go to the bathroom in a bucket, but then what do you do with those bags? Um, because now you're talking a health issue. Obviously, I can't dig a hole in the backyard. I don't. I live in a subdivision. So, what's your guys' thoughts for those that live in an area where you can't have a outhouse? What's your plans? CR says composting toilet. There you go. FS ready. I don't know if I said hello to you or not, but hello, Semper Fi, brother. Macro says kitchen garbage bag, cat litter, sawdust, 5 gallon bucket. Okay. Then what? Then what do you do with it? Collecting it is not the issue. The issue is what do you do with it after you've collected it and you've collected enough of it? Then what do you do? I used buckets for 2 years while I built my place and put the good stuff in the garden. All right. Blue Butterfly says bury it. Low on Prepper says make a toilet disguised as a garden shed. All right. We got, oh, well, we can't use because it's terminated perfect flushing toilet and used for a porta potty. There you go. Awesome. You can burn it or fertilize your garden, but you need to make sure it's dry. So I've I haven't really looked into it. I've heard some things. As far as human feces going into your garden, I don't know. I've heard both ways on that. So, Paul J. Conroy, welcome in. Good to see you. Look at all the places that had garbage pickup strikes like New York, Paris, 2023. All right. It could also be burnt. Yeah, I know. I know human waste can be burnt. When we were in Iraq, they poured JP8 on the. They had 55 gallon drums that they cut in half, and then they built porta johns that they sat over the drums, and that's what they used for toilets for a while. But then you had to get rid of it. So I mean, that was another issue that we had of getting rid of that. Um, they burnt it, and some E3 Lance Corporal had to sit there and stir the crap until it burned up. And That caused, I believe, a lot of health issues because you're sitting there breathing in burning feces. So that's the issues that you're going to have when it comes to um, of doing that. Holly says, "Watch Doug and Stacy off grid. They teach you everything about composting human manure." All right, yeah, I'll take a look at that, and I'm gonna look into it, and we'll have another discussion about this after I um, look into other things. But I don't know if me personally would want to put human feces on a place that I'm growing, and I know people are gonna be like, you put animal feces on there." I I think it's a little different, but half-ass Ray says, "Cha Cha, we were talking about shit tonight." But it's more than just shit. It's what about garbage? Okay, so you know you have aluminum cans, that your corn or your peas or your fruits in. You have bags that your rice is in, or your aluminum mylar bags. What are you going to do with all this stuff as you collect it? Because you're going to be eating the food. What do you do um, with that trash? Some of the jokes in here now. It's a shifty situation. Sling it over your neighbor. Okay. I just think about some kind of items like this. You don't hear too many people talking about it. Everybody talks about collecting water and all this other stuff. So I thought it'd be an interesting conversation. I put the link in there if anybody wanted to come up and give their 2 cents about the conversation. But I'm just curious what people are going to do with their aluminum cans, their paper products. Another thing that you got to be considerate about is people say burning the stuff. All right, so if you're trying to stay under the radar and burning the stuff, obviously is going to create smoke, going to create smell. Um, so then you're going to alert people that maybe you don't want there. Um, so you should probably hold on to the cans. Aluminum can be smashed down and piled up somewhere out of the way. All right. But you're going to have to rinse them out, wash them out, whatever, because obviously it's got food particles in it. Food particles, you collect them outside, you're gonna attract rodents, right? So what's going on, Madge?
You know what?
I can hear you.
Uh, oh, did I break it? Okay. Now I can hear.
Okay.
I think I can hear you. Yes. What's up, Devil Dog? How are you doing?
Just doing my thing,
Absolutely,
Staying
man.
busy, staying focused on what I need to do, and when I was doing my woodworking, I was thinking of something to talk about, and it wasn't just about shit. It was about everything, about any kind of trash. So,
Right, right.
so
I'm digging it. Yes,
and
sir.
I'm glad that you came in, being a person who lives in an apartment complex. Is that something that you think about? What are you going
Yes.
to do with your waste, whether it's your human waste or your stuff, paper products or whatever.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I've been an apartment dweller for basically most of my life, really, growing up, and so we've had to do some of these things.
Yeah.
You know, we've had to. I remember we had to get buckets of water to, or 2 liter bottles of water to flush the toilets,
Yep.
things of that nature, and when things would go bad, when we ran out of power or whatever. And I have thought about that. Like, what do I do if there's some in some places, in some situations, I'd have to seal up the toilet because everything would back up and come
Mhm.
out. And so that was a situation where I was like, man, what do I do? I gotta figure out a way to preset so I could do that. And then I guess I'm going to the creek, right,
Yeah.
in the middle of the night to get buckets of water and start processing water and for either brackish water and or drinking water, right? So
Yep.
that's and then your trash. What do you do with your trash? Are you burning it? Are you allowed to burn it? Can you get away with burning it?
Yep.
Right? Are you in a permissible environment? Of course, if shit happens, a little fire here and there just means that it could be a structure fire. It could be shenanigan fire. you know.
I mean, and it brings up a good point. Being someone that lives in an apartment. Okay, so where do you burn it at? You got to go find a spot now. And I guess my whole thinking of it, and when I say something, my mind goes this way, that way. So you're in a complex, and you're taking your trash down to burn it somewhere. People are watching everybody's movement and like, oh well,
Yeah.
he's taking trash. He's taking trash. That means he's got food. That means he's got this. That means So that's creates a whole nother issue.
So that my plan was to have a meeting, a town meeting, an apartment meeting.
Okay.
That was my plan. Uh, Wherever I lived at, and each everybody would kind of fill each other out. My last place, I'm going to confess to you, they felt me out. They were going, oh, I see you've got some canning jars. Are you making jelly? They're like, I'm like, no, not jelly. They're like, oh, really? And so, one by one, they would seek me out and talk to me and kind of, they were a lot older, right? They're in their 60s, 70s. And so they kind of like, okay, you're one of us, right? So the idea was to have like a town hall meeting.
Yeah.
Who's on board? Let's if you're going to live in an apartment and everybody's going to be in this apartment during shift, well, we're going to have a community, and
Yep.
you're going to have to be able to rely upon each other, and of course, talk about trash, talk about water, talk about food, talk about defense, right?
Mhm.
So that was my thing. We would have to secure a few things, things of that nature. So yeah, you would. It still boils down to community. If you're going to be living in an apartment complex, you could go gray man to the point where you go into one apartment and wormhole through another apartment, and then you're in some totally different place that is totally secured and free. Nobody knows where you're at because because now you get to build. Now you get to modify it how you see fit. You're not constrained to the management, any kind of modifications that you make, right?
Yeah.
So I can go upstairs, I can go next door, I can go out the balcony, I can go down, I can go up subterranean, you
Yep.
know. So you could actually honeycomb the hell out of it, really, you know. But yeah, I mean, that's some things to think about, right? Um, you could.
I'll be honest. I up until recently, I never even it never even dawned on me. I was so concentrated on making sure we had the food and the water and the protection and the communication and this and that. I mean, we got plenty of toilet paper, but it never dawned on me what what do I do with that stuff after it's used. You know, so
Right.
um,
Yeah. I mean, dig a hole, burn it, start a compost heap,
Yeah.
start I mean, build a a medieval septic tank, so to speak. You know, uh, where all your waste goes into one area and gets processed and gets leached into the ground, and so that's something that has to be really thought through. But taking it elsewhere and dumping it
Yeah.
is basically how you're going to have to do it. But that place is trashed wherever you could take it. So, the contamination of the water supply, you don't want to contaminate your water supply. You don't want to, and, are you going to contaminate somebody downstream, or do you even care?
Yeah.
You know, maybe you just go into a creek and do your business, which is probably, how do you know if somebody upstream is not doing the same thing?
Exactly. Exactly. If it's really SHTF, you can break the glass bottles around your perimeter, stringing your cans and aluminum cans together, and have a tripwire. When someone's coming too close to your area. There you go.
Well, I mean, there is this arcane technology uh, that has lasted for hundreds, not thousands of years. It goes boom, right? So that's a great allegedly a perimeter defense as well, right?
Yeah. Holly Ivins says, "I'm glad I live on a hill."
Even better. Oh man, even better.
Because as they
Uh,
say, shit rolls downhill.
Absolutely. They've got to crawl through that stuff to get to you.
Johnson says, "My property has a septic. The lid burned off, but it's still intact, so could use it for a while." There you go.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a
every house in my subdivision, because it's in the country, but I don't understand why they built this, but I'm glad they did it because I have a house. But it was built back in the '70s, and every house in the subdivision had its own septic tank at some point, and then the city sewer system come through, and they had to crush it. Everybody's septic tanks were crushed.
really. Oh man.
Yeah. Well, and that's that's another discussion another day. But I know, like I've had a couple buddies that were forced to hook up into the city, even though they're out in the country. The So we have a water treatment facility, and they just keep expanding, getting more customers. Some of them by force, but they'll take out sewer lines and power line, or not power lines, sewer lines and water lines out into the country. And as they expand, in every house, they force these people to get on it. And
Wow. Really?
yeah, and so um, it's been going on for a decade or more that I know of, that I can remember. But they put in like grinder pumps and stuff like that. Well, they make you, the customer, pay for that stuff.
Yeah,
And
and so they force you to do it. What if I don't want to be a customer?
yeah, well, that's where the whole, and I'm not saying eminent domain, but it's sort of like that whole thing where that's how they get around it, and they can force people to get onto it. So I don't know if that happens in other people's areas or states, but I know it's been happening around here. I have, like I said, I had a couple buddies that were forced um, to get it. They had their own septic tank and well. Now the one buddy, he was forced to get on the the sewer system, but he was able to keep his well. So
Okay. Okay. I mean,
it's called forced appliance, and they do it in PA as well. Okay.
forced compliance. All right. I mean, whatever. Fine. I'll take your sewer. I'll take your 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 water, but I'm going to keep my well and my septic tank. You know. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well,
I
I
could
don't
do
know
that.
at what point in this subdivision that I live in that this happened, but I know that everyone's septic tank had to be crushed and filled in at some point. So
That's kind of horrible.
yeah,
It's kind of diabolical and tyrannical, if you ask me.
yeah, yep.
Hmm.
I mean, that's the whole purpose of living out in the country is to, and that's my goal is to get off of
Yeah,
the water system, to get,
yeah,
because that was a point that was being talked about in the chat, in a grid down situation, and you even said it, you got to seal the toilet off. Well, if you live out in the country and you have your own septic tank, you don't have nothing to worry about. You're not, it's not going to be backing up if the grid goes down, because one, you're powering your own stuff.
yeah. I
So
got my own system. Yeah, my own on my own program. Yeah, it's what would you call it? Forced compliance.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cherokee Survival, welcome in. Ace, sorry I didn't say hello to you, but welcome in, my friend.
Ace Cherokee. Yeah. Hello, everybody. I can't see chat right now.
Rabbit said he has 3 ways to operate his well here. Awesome. So I
Yeah.
got Rabbit reminded me, since he's in Missouri, but my son, who lives in Missouri, called me up yesterday and wished me a happy Father's Day, and he's
All right.
actually he was actually on his way to Ohio for work, for his job, and he's about 2.5 hours away. So he'll be visiting. He said he'll be here in Ohio for about a month. So that's pretty exciting news that I get to
Wow. Right
see
on.
my son for a couple of visits and stuff while he's here. So
Oh yeah. Good
he
times.
does paintless dent removal. He works for a company, and he just goes to all these areas that get hit by all these storms, and goes to all these body shops and pops out all these dents from hail or whatever, and he makes damn good money. So
Wow. Traveling dent remover.
oh yeah, he has a truck and a trailer that he has all of his equipment in, and he just sort of like a storm chaser, but for insurances and stuff like that. So
Oh yeah. Oh okay. That's a pretty sweet gig right
he works
there.
for a company, and they tell him where to go. But
Yeah. Wow.
Ghost says I do painful dent removing.
Oh man.
Well, yeah, he called today and said that he might swing up this area tomorrow. So I haven't seen him in probably a year. So
Wow. That's great, man. That's
I take
great.
that back. It's almost he came up when I had my brain surgery. So,
Yeah.
but
Happy
that'd be good.
Father's Day to you.
Thank you,
Yes.
thank you.
Yep.
I went from not having nobody was supposed to come over because everybody was doing their thing, because they all have husbands or fiancés or boyfriends or whatever that are their baby's father or whatever. So, but they all migrated to my house. So
There you go.
did a cookout, and
Yep. Time to get to work. Make some food.
well,
Oh
when I
man.
woke up and I came upstairs and we were getting ready to go to church, and there was burger patties and a bratwurst and chicken on the stove, and I'm like, what the heck? Oh yeah, everybody decided they're coming over. So I'm like, all right,
Yep. Wow. Good times, man. That's
yeah.
great. That is great.
Paul J says, I firmly believe that the eminent domain and forced compliance, like you were talking about, as far as the water and sewer lines, should be illegal, period. Absolutely. I think eminent domain is overreach of power.
It is. I mean, you work all your life to save your money, and then work even more to pay off this mortgage to get this property, and then the state comes by and says, "Oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna go ahead and take your land because we want to put up a highway or something."
And
doing
this is
away.
how much we're going to pay you, and that's what you're going to accept.
Yeah, yeah, whether you like it or not. Oh, you've
Yeah.
been here for 5 generations. No, we don't care, right?
Yep, absolutely. I totally disagree with it, but that's a little off topic. So we'll jump back
Right.
on
Yeah, let's get
topic
back. Yeah, yeah, let's get
about,
back on topic here.
getting rid of your trash. Now, like I said before, you know, we stock up on paper products because I'm thinking to myself, if you use your dishes, your forks, your spoons, your plates, your cups, all that kind of stuff, you need water to clean it, right?
Yeah.
So we have paper products. We have napkins, we have paper towels, we have paper plates, we have paper cups, or red solo cups, or whatever. So that then creates another issue because you have trash buildup now. So I never
Well,
realized really the amount of trash that we as humans create until I look at my trash can. So I got these two big trash cans that they come and dump, but they get full every week.
yeah.
So what in a grid down situation, a shift situation, or even just like an emergency, whether it's a tornado, hurricane, earthquake, fire, whatever. What do you do with your normal everyday trash if there's no garbage pickup?
So here's an interesting concept, and I've seen it. Is to recycle and repurpose your trash.
Yeah.
You know, take like say your paper products. You can throw those all in water and reconstitute them down to pulp,
Yep.
and then you can make them into logs for fire. You can make them into building materials. You make more paper. So you can write on it, or you make toilet paper, right?
Yep.
Make whatever you want, just by boiling it all down and making something out of it. Your plastic, same thing. You can kind of melt it all down and use it as in make molds or something. Whatever you want to do. You know, so there's ideas. I've seen some of these interesting build houses out of trash kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, these earth what do they call them, earth ships and things of that nature, and they got some interesting ideas where they just take ground up somebody, like you see the guy that made a house out of crushed aluminum beer cans, right? Or you know even full, like he'll keep some full and it does weird things. It insulates this side and it allows this side to cool or something, just by the way of his placement of it. So,
Yeah.
there's some ideas. I mean, you think about it in shift. I mean, your trash you're going to be using anything and everything you can get your hands on,
Absolutely.
so, you can even, make clothes and fabrics, right? Rope, all kinds of stuff, from plastics and papers. Um, so yeah, that's some ideas too.
Yeah, I don't know what when you were talking about the plastics. I remember watching a video sometime. The guy was cutting up the plastics into little pieces, with scissors. He just cut them all up and then he melted it down. He was making something. I wish I could remember what he was doing with it, but
Yeah.
yeah, repurposing everything is what you're gonna have to do. So
I mean, I seen a guy. He's over in Europe somewhere, but he sells this little cutting apparatus, and he'll take a plastic bottle,
hmm
any plastic bottle, like a Mountain Dew bottle, and he'll cut it where it cuts it into a long ribbon, and then
yeah,
he'll
I seen the
take them
same
and
thing. He took a
yeah,
razor blade on a piece of wood,
that's
and then
it.
he got it started, and then he just pulled it, and he just kept pulling it, pulling it, pulling it, pulling it, and he basically made like thread out of a plastic bottle.
Yeah, he's got cordage. Yeah,
Yeah,
and if you braid them together, it turns even stronger. Yeah,
but
so
we as people in the same mindset, preparedness, preppers, whatever you want to call it, we think about this and we talk about it, but you have neighbors that don't think about it. They think everything is fine, and then when it happens and they're not prepared or they don't think about this stuff, they're um, what's the word? That by them not being educated or prepared could also cause problems for you because let's say your neighbors or whatever in your complex or whatever, and they don't take care of the trash like we're talking about, and they just dump it outside. Now they're creating issues that other people have to handle. So that's going to be an issue as well, trying to deal with those idiots, from trying to stop them from doing that. So it's
Yeah,
there's so many
right.
different angles you can look at it.
And I have my background in pest control, so trash and trash and trash and dealing with waste material. It's very important because there's a lot of pests, very bad pests that are associated with that. You got your rats, your mice, and then of course that brings snakes and raccoons and and all kinds of coyotes, even bears, depending on where you live. So and not to mention all the diseases that come from that too. So and the bugs. Oh man, I mean, so you can turn a very bad situation into something very, very worse just by
Oh yeah.
dumping your trash outside. You
Well, and
know,
that's why I wanted to bring this topic up. I mean, it's not really a conversation to have at the dinner table, but we're not at the dinner table right now. So, I want people to think about this stuff because I don't hear too many preparedness channels talking about human waste or human trash or whatever your everyday trash.
right? Yeah,
So,
yeah.
um,
I've been on some forums that talked about it. I mean, burying it in a certain area, and you use the same rag
yeah,
as your toilet paper, and you just wash that rag. That's how they did it back in the day. They didn't have toilet paper. Toilet paper is a very pretty much a new thing, right? Before that, everybody just kind of used a rag, a rag and a pot, full of water, and there you go. That's what you did, and then you washed it out somewhere.
Rabbit said the community poop stick.
Community poop stick. Yeah, get smacked with the poop stick. Mm. Bad rabbit.
Reuse containers to make filters for water and such. There you go.
Yeah, right. That's where community comes into play, and many hands make for light work. So, building a septic tank system. I just had a conversation with a certain engineer that we all know, and talking about septic tanks. And so, because we had to deal with a septic tank with someone we all know, and that it was interesting. I knew about it before, and it was like, really, it's a 3-tier system
Yeah.
that kind of works.
Yeah.
Once you set it into the ground, concrete, maybe stainless, and it lasts for years. And yeah, you got to clean it out, or you got to make sure that it has its own type of bacteria that breaks down everything. Everything gets leach. You got a leaching field, and make sure that's away from any kind of water source, that kind of thing. Of course, going downhill with the water, it's the land itself starts to deal with all that.
Yes.
You use the land to your advantage. But being able to build these things in the ground requires concrete, requires some skill, right? Concrete and some forethought and planning. So knowing how to build a septic tank system, I think would be great.
Yeah.
I was very intrigued by the conversation. And I knew it was basically a simple kind of idea, right? You just build this. Everything goes in this tank. It starts to break down, and then it goes to another tank, breaks down even more, and then eventually it just kind of filters out into the ground
Mhm.
to be processed by plants. So there's certain plants too, right? Certain plants and trees and grasses that fungus as well that take that and even use it, make it disappear, because that's basically
Absolutely.
what we're trying to do is make our waste disappear. You know?
Absolutely.
Um,
Welcome in,
now,
Billy. Good to see you as well.
now urine can be used. The urine, I learned this from Maccabeus. It's a great source of ammonia.
Yep.
It was used in cooking. It was used in boom boom making, right? It was used in certain types of of course cleaning materials. They you would clean that's how you cleaned your clothes back in the day. You would boil your clothes in this water in ammonia solution made from urine that you just set in a container and let it set until the stink goes away, and boom, now you have ammonia. Uh, so medicinal purposes as well. I mean, I know it's kind of gross,
Yeah.
but the Chinese have been doing it for centuries. They
Yep.
they, they use all kinds of not just human urine, but they use animal urine as well, boiled down and reconstituted, refined and processed. There is some medicinal properties there and other things, that you can use it in building material, paints, and all kinds of stuff, right? So your fecal matter, I don't know, maybe we can figure out a way to turn it into methane, and there you go. Now you've got methane gas powered vehicles.
There
Uh,
you go.
so instead of a car seat, you're sitting on your toilet seat, right?
PA dropped a looks like it dropped a link there or whatever. It says how to build a composting toilet barrel system using two 55-gallon plastic barrels here on YouTube. Guy provides a lot of information
Oh
plan.
yeah, yeah, compost. I mean, that's you see a lot of van people,
Oh yeah.
van life with Gina. I think she's got a composting toilet. So
Yep.
imagine that on a larger scale.
Yeah.
Larger scale. I have heard of. I don't think it's really good to use human waste as a composting material for growing plants to
Well,
eat, but
yeah. So I actually Googled it. And it says using human waste as fertilizer, also known as biosolids or night soil, can be safe and beneficial when properly treated and managed, but it also carries potential risk if not handled carefully. While it's a
okay.
suitable way of recycling nutrients and reduces reliance on synthetic fertilizers, potential risks include the spread of pathogens and contamination of soil and water with harmful substances. So it can be done if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I've only seen a few situations where it did. They basically it was a community apartment complex. It's in Washington or Seattle, somewhere over there, Washington
Mhm.
State, and they basically made a self-sustaining apartment complex with their own using human fecal matter as compost, which
Yeah.
they did it in quite the process, right? They let it set and dried out, and then they moved it over here and moved it to another pile to add more to it, and they kept this process going. First, it's set in a tank, one of those big uh, freaking big tanks. I think they're called carboys, whatever. Big 600-gallon tanks for a long time with chemicals in it, and all this, and then they move it on, and eventually it gets added to the compost after 6 or 7 uh, processes. Very long processes. So
Yep.
I guess yeah, you can do it. It's possible if you do it right, but
Yeah.
you don't want to be North Korea, where they're just because That's their thing. They're like, oh yeah, just go poop in the yard. Go poop at the farm. You'll be fine. Makes the food grow. Yeah.
Rabbit says I need to make copies of tens of thousands of PDF files I have on zip drives and SD cards right now. Hand them out to the community. There you go.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
I've got one from Paul. He gave me one that's got like 10,000 books on it. We could
Nice.
literally restart humanity if we want, society if we wanted to. So yeah, I mean,
And
it's think about it. Go ahead.
Devil Dog 28 was it 2857, I think. I don't know. I can't remember the number, but anyway, he said that the Library of Congress, you can log on there and print off all that stuff as well.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right. Yeah.
that's something to look into because he came on my live one night and was showing the different books, and I asked where he got it from, and he said Library of Congress. You can print off all that stuff. So on how to
Yeah.
grow things, how to do, how to basically do whatever you're looking to do, you can get all that information from there.
Mm.
So one zip drive has over 50 gigs on it right now. Holy cow. A lot of
Wow.
information. My bro
So
says he has a well full of methane gas he can't use. He can run a vehicle for years on that one. Wow.
wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's definitely a conversation or a topic that could be expanded on multiple lives, but I just wanted to bring the general topic out there. That way, it gets people thinking. I know just the thought got me thinking and of how I would go about it. So I definitely got to come up with a better plan uh, to get rid of my trash, however you want to look at it. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, uh, early on in a shift, I guess, you can just start to burn it and bury it.
Yeah,
Uh, you know, dig a cat hole. You remember those days, right?
yep.
Uh, that's that's how they did it back in the day too. Hey, I got to go to the woods. You know,
They don't
yeah,
even have to be a shift. I mean, it could be, like you could have tornadoes, you could have hurricanes, you could have wildfires, you could have earthquakes, whatever. Any
right.
you know, Mother Nature thing. It could be uh, stupid idiots doing stupid idiot things that create these emergencies, and it could be for a week, could be for a month, could be for 6 months. You don't know. So then
Yeah,
that would turn into a shift. But with all the craziness, I was watching the news or listening to the news earlier, and they were talking. I guess Trump left the G7 summit early and warned everybody to get out of Tehran or whatever. And because of all the stuff going on there's a nuclear threat. And I'm like, oh my God, like we need more of that, you know? Um, 'Cause I guess Israel hit some of the different spots in Iran that contains the stuff for their nuclear stuff. So
they are systematically just dismantling their ability to make anything nuclear, anything.
yep.
You know, yeah,
Ghost says at the end of the day, always remember, don't put your mouth on it. Throw your shit at the neighbors.
and that's from a warfare standpoint that can be weaponized,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, talk about siege warfare. Everybody poops in a bucket, and you catapult it over the wall.
Yep. One infrastructure failure can cause this. Yep. Absolutely. So Ghost like he
Yeah,
loves this. Or,
I like the idea of repurposing, recycling. It's just a it's just a lot of work. Very labor intensive and very timely. It takes a lot of time to break that stuff down.
Hmm.
Especially human waste. You know, it does. But I mean, it can be done. Your trash, after a certain time and shift, you're going to run out of trash because you're going to run out of things. You
Yeah.
know, that Dixie cup, that Dixie cup that you've been hanging on for about 6 months, it's going to be tethered and weared, but you're going to be washing it over and over again to use it because you're out of cups. You
Yeah.
know, so
Absolutely. Well,
I
and
don't know.
that's where we went, like, because we had all these hard plastic cups and whatnot, and they're good, especially with the grandkids because they don't break and stuff. But again,
Right?
you know, we went with like more metal cups and stuff like that
Yeah.
to utilize, because that those in a grid down situation, how many cups do you really need? I mean, you need one cup for each person that you have, and that's their cup. You're responsible for keeping it clean and doing whatever with it. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, and that was the way back in the day. You traveled with all the stuff you needed, and you showed up if you were traveling, and you were able to get somewhere, and to a traveler's rest. You poured out your cup and washed it out, and here you go. Fill it up for me, please. Right? It's
well, I mean,
good.
when I was in Iraq, you had your canteen cups, and we had our what are they called? I'm having a brain fart
Camelback.
right now. Camelback, yes.
Yep.
But
Camelbacks.
you always had your canteen cup. So
Yep.
that was made out of metal, and you heated your water up, and you made your coffee or your orange drink or whatever came in your MRE, and so that that's the way it was in the military, and like you were saying back in the day, you had your cup and you kept it clean. So
Yeah, you never. I mean, and I here's an interesting observation too. I spent a lot of time on ships, naval ships. Uh, there's a lot of places that you would smell coffee, and you go in there and go, "Hey, can I have a cup of coffee?" They're like, "Yeah." Where's your cup? So everybody carried a little cup on their keychain and
there you
just
go.
walked around from birding to birding. Hey, yeah, there you
There you
go.
Speaking about coffee, I was at Dollar General today, and my one of my younger granddaughters had a dance recital, and the wife and her sisters all went to it, and they had a clearance section, and I got to go back because I got to look more into it. But it was big things of coffee, and they were 50% off of the clearance mark, so it was like three bucks for those big things of coffee. So I got to go back and take a look at it.
Yeah, right.
So,
Wow. And I've done this before. I've because I coffee filters. You can use those over and over
yeah.
if you don't damage them. You just gotta dry them out, but they can be reused.
Well, that and the coffee grounds, you can repurpose those as well. You know,
Yep, absolutely.
so
Great for growing, and for throwing your compost, throwing your garden.
my
Yep.
my grandparents, they would make their coffee in the morning, and then Grandpa would always add water to it and make a little bit. It would be weaker coffee, but
Yep. Yep.
they would utilize the coffee grounds as much as they could, or they'd throw a little bit of extra coffee grounds in it and make another pot. It wouldn't be as strong, obviously, but
Yep. Basically, you're drinking dirty water.
yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure you buy the unbleached filters for your composting. Okay.
Ah, Yep.
I know some coffee pots or coffee makers out there have a reusable filter, so you don't actually use a paper filter. It's
Right.
just
Yeah.
a mesh thing. So
Yep. I've seen that. Yep.
yeah. Let's see what we got.
Yeah. I
Oh
mean,
yeah. Plants love coffee grounds. Up, absolutely. Coffee grounds also have medicinal properties as well. Cause the oil as an antiseptic will also clot wounds as well. There you go. Microwave says canteen and a cup. That's all you need. There you go. I saved my coffee grounds and I sell them to Starbucks because that's what all those Starbucks people like, the weak ass coffee.
$10 for a cup of dirty water. There you go.
I don't like Starbucks. Never
I
have, never
would,
will.
nope. I don't. Nope. I duologically opposed to them as well. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm an odd one, but like every once in a while I'll drink coffee. Most of the time I drink coffee in the morning. That's it.
Yep.
And other than that, you know, every once in a while I'll have a coffee later on in the afternoon or evening, but I'm a morning coffee person, and that's about it.
Yep. I like to drink coffee all the way up to lunch, and then I switch over to something else. Water or tea or whatever sports drinks. Right. So yeah.
Half-ass
I want
Rick
to go to
says
bed.
I'm drinking coffee right now.
I mean, yeah, it's nice if you want to. You got the day off or something, which I do. So I might just make me a cup of coffee. I don't know. Just enjoy. Just to enjoy. But yeah. Uh, so yeah, I mean, your waste byproduct, huh? What about you? What about repurposing the packaging? Say you got freeze dried foods, right? Mylar bags.
Yep.
Most of them come in Mylar bags. You can essentially reuse those.
Yep.
Put more, even though you've used it or whatever. You can just reseal it back up
Correct.
and store smaller amounts of food in there, whatever you find. Uh, you know.
Well, and that's why I do what I see a lot of people that get the big huge 5 gallon or 5 gallon Mylar bags, and they fill it all with rice or oats or flour or whatever.
Yeah.
Now you have one big huge bag of that stuff, and what are you
And
going
now
to
it's
do
a
when you need
race
it?
because I've been there. I've done that. I did that. I started off with the big bags, and once you open one of those bags, now you got it's a race to eat all that stuff before it goes bad.
So what I do is I still use the 5 gallon buckets, but I do like if I get a whatever whether it's beans or rice or whatever, I put them in the quart bags, the smaller bags,
Yeah.
and then
Yep.
I stack those into the 5 gallon, and I do that for one of a couple different reasons. One, my thinking is if you put all your eggs in one basket and you have a bad egg, they're all gone. They're all
Yeah,
bad.
right. Yeah, you're right.
So
Yeah.
if for whatever reason something gets in there and ruins that whole 5 gallon of rice, then you have no rice. So I put them in littler compartment or little bags, and then if one of them happened to go bad, then I still have the rest of them. So
Yep.
and they're easier to ration out. And like you just said, I don't have to
Yep.
open up that 5 gallon bag of rice because then you got it. Like you said, you're on a race to use it.
Yeah.
Especially if you've had it in storage for 10, 15 years, you know, um, which
Yeah.
I
Now you
try
got
not to do
less than a
that.
month to eat it all.
Yeah.
I did the same thing. I even measured out, like I knew how much a pot of rice was. You
Yep.
know, it's like a cup and a half, and so I would put a cup and a half of rice in a Mylar bag. Boom, seal it away. And so I had all these ready-made cup, bowls of rice. I could make a pot of rice just like that. Boom, here you go. And that would last me personally. It would last me a good week because I'm setting it off in the refrigerator or whatever, or eating off of it, for quite some time. And then you add to it. You're adding meats, you're adding veggies, you're adding beans and rice, right? So whatever you need, make some gravy, throw in there, make some chicken broth. Oh man! So just having little portion size uh, preps packages goes a long way, right?
Absolutely. And if it ever came down to a bartering situation, um, that would be easy to use those smaller bags
Right.
versus getting out your 5 gallons of this or that or whatever, to figure out that. So,
That's a good point too. Yeah. If I can give somebody a pot of rice, here you go. It's in my hand,
well,
for whatever.
and one thing that I do when I break down my bulk items like beans and rice and pasta or whatever, um, I print out directions on how to, whatever, if I do my rice in a bag, I put on there how many cups it is, whatever, and then how much water you need for it, and I put them in the 5 gallon bucket with it. So there's directions on how to cook it or prepare it too.
Yeah.
So,
And from a cachet standpoint, if you're going to use the plastic buckets, right? They
mhm.
they they store better in the ground than the metal ones do. So I actually went to the point where I went from 5 gallons to 3 gallons. I
Yeah.
got some 3 gallon buckets, which I need to do something with. But
And Adam B says, I have things to trade that you don't like. And what would that be, Adam B?
okay. I mean, things of vice will definitely be barter items. Cigarettes, liquor, beer, weed, drugs. I mean,
Well, when I did
whatever.
smoke, I looked into how to store up tobacco for long term, and I've seen some people do different things, whether put it in the freezer or whatever, but I never really got into it too deep. But I mean, that would be a good thing to have, even if I
I,
don't smoke, is to have the tobacco or whatever. So
right. I've allegedly done that as well with smokables.
yeah,
So the oxygen absorbers work great.
yeah,
Oxygen absorb as long as it doesn't matter how dry they get.
yeah.
You can always just take a piece of lettuce or take a piece of wet paper towel, put them in there. But once you introduce um, moisture, then you have the risk of growing a fungus.
Yeah.
Right, the fungus will actually start to grow on it. So storing it, you have to get all the air out, and it does change it, and it does start to dry out and break down into a
Mhm.
powdery kind of thing. And so it's really hard to store. It really is. That's why humidors, are very popular with cigars, right? So
Yeah.
you gotta keep it a certain amount of moisture, but it's got to be certain type
Yeah.
of dry.
There you go. Well,
Right.
I'm glad that I quit smoking, so that's one less thing that I got to worry about, because I know that
Yeah.
in a shift situation, um, I remember when I was in Iraq and I was a smoker then, and we ran out of cigarettes, and holy hell, you thought the world was going to end because
Oh
you
yeah.
couldn't get
Yeah.
a cigarette.
So I've already reserved. I already know that when it happens, I'll smoke cigarettes until I can't, and then I'm just gonna have to quit, right? So, yeah, I was just handing one. Check this out, gamma seal lids.
Hold
These
on.
are great.
Yes. Yep.
Gamma seal lids. These things. So basically, you put this right on the. You put this. You nail this. Hammer this onto your bucket, and then you can literally, it seals it. It's
Yep.
got a nice seal to
There's
it.
a rubber gasket on there.
Yep, it's got a rubber gasket right there, so you can get in and out of it. Seals pretty good. So there you go for all your bucket needs.
There you go, half-ass ready. He says he's been stocking up pint bottles and airplane bottles of alcohol for years to barter
Right,
with.
right. I know how to make alcohol. That's a you know you can do it with just about anything really. Any
The
kind
big
of plant material, any kind
Yeah,
of fruit material. You can actually make your own yeast.
yeah.
Uh, that's pretty cool. Make your own yeast.
They do it. They do it in prison every day.
Yeah, they
They're
call it
making.
hooch.
Yeah, they're making hooch. Yeah.
Make some hooch.
Half-ass ready says the big bottles are for him though.
That's right. That's right. You got to have your big bottles. Yeah.
I have. I'm looking at my Marine Corps cabinet, and I have 4 or 5 different bottles of whiskey in there. One's called Pendleton, and then there's a couple of them that are. I mean, they're all veteran made whiskeys. So I'm not a whiskey drinker, but I have them there. In a shift situation, I might become a whiskey drinker.
I mean, take them out of those big bottles, and
Yep,
put them into little bitty bottles, and there you go. You
absolutely.
can a bartering item,
Rabid
medicinal
Coyote
purposes.
says grapes have natural yeast. Y'all seen the white powdery stuff on the skins, right? Yeast, same with apples and such. Awesome. Most fruits have lots on their skin, Moonsprout says. There you go. So I mean that just brings up into you talk about community and I hope that everybody has a community to go to in a shift situation, even if it's not a shift situation, everyday living. I hope that everybody finds a community because of the knowledge that you can spread and collect is enormous out there. But in a community in a shift situation, there's so many different jobs, and this topic tonight brings up another job that you know that someone's going to have to do maybe while you have people out guarding your facility or wherever you're at. You have your cooks, you have your engineers, you have your people who are building stuff. Someone's going to have to take care of the trash and or human waste, so
Yep. Yep.
they did that in the military, like I said at the beginning. That PFC or Lance Corporal had to go and burn the shitters.
Burn the piles. Yeah. Oh man.
So
Talk about a job there.
yep,
Or some type of plan that everybody takes part in. Like, hey, you got to dump your collect your own waste, and bring it to the community facility, designated area to be processed. Whatever the case may be.
Microwave says you could vacuum seal a carton of cigarettes and opening it up 10 years later, still fresh. I've done it.
Wow, really? Hmm. Yeah, vacuum sealing. Yes, I mean it's basically the same. You know, you just I've done the oxygen absorbers in in big quart jars.
Yeah,
Big
I've
canning
seen that.
jars. Yep.
East
So
Tennessee preparedness. Good to see you, my friend.
what's up, East? Hey, everybody, welcome to the gun show. Yeah. Rah, brr.
Half-ass. Oh, there. How about that? Half-ass Freddy says, I vacuum seal my smokeless tobacco. There you go.
Your smokeless tobacco, really?
Actually, half-ass Freddy, I had a supervisor that made his own chew. So business said, Brad, you grew a beard. Nope, sure didn't. What's going on, Vision?
What's up, Trent? How you doing? How you doing, brother?
Cha-cha, he's in the barn because he hates the rain. Who's that? Merle? Merle hates the rain? I watched a video on how to do that last night. Yeah. It's I gotta figure out how to do that, seeing as how I still chew, but I probably should give that up too.
Well, I don't know. Interesting.
Mascot Merle. There you go. Well, yeah, folks, you just thought this would be a good conversation. Get people's ideas on what their plans are with that. KP says on my other channel, the monster has his crossbow. There you go. Some dry ice and a sealed 2-liter bottle goes loud boom. All right. Yeah, I've heard that. Everybody's saying hi to Vision. He must have been eating his pie.
What kind of pie? Yummy.
I'm not a pie person, but I went to a festival this weekend, and man, they had these cherry pie. You remember McDonald's used to have the apple and cherry pies you could get?
Turnovers, yeah.
The box, whatever.
Yep.
Dude, these things were unbelievably good. I threw one in the microwave for 30 seconds, warmed it up a little bit. Oh my gosh.
I love the Amish fry pies.
They just said it was banana pudding.
Oh, banana pudding. Yummy.
Speaking about tallow, so I'm a clearance shopper. So when I see shit on clearance and it's of good use, I buy it up. They had lard, and I got to look it up to see how long lard is good for. But they had lard, and it was a name brand company that made this, whatever. It was on clearance. It was a freaking big, huge container of it. I got it for $2.50 on clearance.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. You know you can freeze it. I freeze it. Yeah, you can freeze it forever.
There you go.
Yep.
Adam, fat is impossible. Only freezing will work. Even freeze drying, it will go rancid. There you go. Father's Day had to monitor the boy child's intake. Margot says when lard goes bad, you can use it for candles. All right, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great fuel source. Yep.
Rabbit says he stores lard in the freezer just because my tallow and ghee too. All right. Nice. Well, I'm glad I picked that up. So, rancid won't unalive you, though. What are you drinking, mister?
Me? I'm drinking a twisted tea. Yeah.
Oh, the original.
Yes. Skull.
I like the peach. I like the peach one.
I don't like any of the. I like the original. I like the original taste.
Yeah.
I've tried them all. I like the original. Even the one they call the extreme. It's just too extreme for me. It tastes like tea. I like the tea. I
Yeah.
like the tea taste. Yeah.
The first time I had those things, I I drank way too many of them because it's the sweetness of it, and then
Oh yeah.
it'll bite you.
Oh yeah. It'll creep up on you. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. There's a surprise. He likes the peach one. I like them all actually, but peach one is my favorite.
So what about okay, staying on topic. What about like food scraps? How to deal with, say you got chicken, or you've got game and you've got bones, and what do you do with that stuff? You can use it in a, save the carcass and use it in a stew, I
Yep.
guess. But what do you do with it afterwards?
Well,
You can't just throw it away with the trash.
in a shift situation. So normally when I buy like rotisserie chicken from Costco, I'll buy two, three, four of them, whatever. I'll pick the meat off the bones, and then I take the carcasses and I'll boil it, and I make bone broth, or I make
Yep.
stock, whatever.
Yep.
So I'm utilizing that, and then I can take the bones, and then I can heat them up, and then you can heat them to the point where you can um, break them down, and then you can put that into the ground for your garden.
Ah, okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing with like eggshells and stuff like that. I mean, it
Yeah.
takes a little long, but you're utilizing it. So,
Mhm.
um, in a shift situation, if you've got extra chicken and you got to worry about, then obviously, uh, someone's not eating enough. So, you know, in a shift situation, you're not going to have too many food scraps per se, you know. But like even now, when I peel my carrots or my potatoes, or if I cut celery, any of that stuff, I put in a bag and I put it in the freezer until I'm ready to make broth, and then I'll cook all that in a pot, and I'll make broth out of it.
Oh, really? Like all your
Yeah.
all your cuttings?
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
Mm,
So.
really?
Yep. So it'll give, in a shift situation, obviously, you're gonna utilize, like you said, you're gonna utilize everything. So you'll be putting it in some stews and stuff like that to make your beans and rice taste better. So
Right. Give us more nutritional value and
and,
stretch it out. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
obviously, if you have chickens, you can give the scraps to the chickens or to the hogs or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
So, or you
Yeah.
can throw it into your compost pile
There you go.
and take it that way. So, but in a shift situation, like I said, you're not going to have too many food scraps left. So, or
Oh,
at least
bones. I was thinking bones. Yeah,
yeah,
but you came out. That's a good solution. Is yeah, boil them down. Make broth, bake them down. Make uh, a soil additive, right?
Cha-Cha was sad. She had to throw her bones to make room for Copper River salmon.
That's a pretty good trade off, I'd say.
Yeah. Rabbit also raised black soldier flies to feed my chickens. Quick, easy to do in the summer. All right. I hear something in the background. Must be the neighbors.
It's Well, yeah, it could be the neighbors, or it could be a poltergeist. Could be something of that nature. Yeah.
JD says, "Say good night, JD. Have a good night, brother."
Good night, JD. Take care, brother.
Yeah, so it's a good topic to think about, more than just the human waste, trying to figure out what to do with the trash and you brought up a good point with like the paper products and using them to break them down into fire bricks and stuff like that. I wouldn't have thought about that, but that's a good idea.
Yep.
So
Yep. I like the bones. Putting the bone, baking the bone, just reconstitute them down, put them in the soil.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Where there's a will, there's a way,
that's
So
right.
um, I mean, I like to think about what my grandparents and their parents used to do with all this stuff, because
Right.
they didn't have garbage pickup on Mondays or Tuesdays,
Right.
They
The
took care of
outhouse.
everything.
They had an outhouse. Everybody went to the outhouse.
Yep.
And that's where you did your business. You know.
Rabbit said everything has a purpose 2 or 3 times over. Absolutely.
Yep.
Hurricane season is here, and if you live in the affected areas, what do you do? I have my plan. Well, if you live in a place that has hurricanes or tornadoes a lot, you should already have a plan. So
Yep.
the
Yep.
engineer says there's a big rule of thumb: if you're not willing to clean up your own shit, why do you want to deal with somebody else's shit? Can I speak from experience in my line of work? There you go.
Right.
So how you been doing, Chad? You been doing good?
Oh man, work is trying to kill me, but
Yeah.
it's it's good, right? I'm moving up, getting a lot of different training, making my brain work, making my body work, making me strong. Just it's very demanding, long hours, lots of things to learn. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
It is.
Absolutely.
Uh, and it'll definitely take me far later on down the road. It'll definitely pay off.
Half-Ass Ready says, KP, I didn't used to live in a hurricane zone, but ever since Helene, I've had to change my attitude on that one.
Right?
uh,
Yeah.
sad to say, but yes.
Yep. Invest in blue tarps.
Yeah, absolutely. Gray says, I hear you. No, I kind of taken a break, and I apologize to a lot of people that normal. I have been watching as many YouTube videos of people's channels. I apologize on that, and I just I needed to take a little break from it. So,
Me
but
too.
I'm getting back into it and slowly watching it. And who's this guy?
Hey, what's up? What's up, fuckers?
Mad Chad, you know Ghost Lincoln? Ghost Mad Chad?
Hi, Ghost. Nice to meet you.
Half-Ass Ready says, believe it or not, there's still a lot of blue roofs down here. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I bet. Okay, we need to shut this off. There we go. That's better.
Well, Cha Cha, during my brain surgery recovery, I had all kinds of time to do nothing but watch YouTube. And now that I'm getting out more and more, there's less and less free or available time. So at night I usually click it on and watch people's videos and stuff, but that just limits my time to be able to do it. So
It automatically takes over the whole. Okay, that's why I don't use this on the cell phone.
OVP says panel looks a little shady.
Put your mouth on it.
I mean, that's my thing is during the week, bedtime is usually around 8, if not earlier, because I got to wake up at 4:30 every morning.
That's
It is
crazy.
what it is.
Yeah.
But and work the live long day, all the live long day, and then come back, just do it all over again. Boom, boom, boom. So I have no time for anything. And when I do have time, I'm sitting and trying to relax, and or I'm running around trying to figure out what to prepare for the next day.
There you go. Have a
Monday.
good night, Rabbit. Enjoy your ramen noodles and rum and Dr. Pepper.
Oh Lord,
Bo, they're spicy ramen.
skull rabbit, skull.
I would toast, but I'm out of drink. So,
Nah.
Oh,
oh, you're drinking original too.
mhm.
Shenanigans in the Ghost Lincoln household, huh? Oh, Chacha says a drink sounds good right now. What are you drinking, Chacha?
She's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm just having water."
Ugh.
She popped her old tequila out.
Yeah.
So you were talking about making bigger flags, huh?
Yeah, I got my first one cut. I gotta get it stained and put it together. I mean, the dimensions. I mean, when I looked at it, I'm like, man, this thing is huge. So it's 37 inches long
That's what she said.
by 19 and a half inches tall.
Okay. Okay.
Which-
Yeah, I'll definitely take one. I'd like mine like blackened. I don't know. I like the whole blackened, stained,
Yeah.
rustic look. I
Well,
like that.
and the bigger one will be better because it'll be more room to engrave stuff on it.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, interesting. So I have to place an order with you for a custom made
There you go.
American flag. Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Spicy, please. Yes. So see, I like the spicy tomato juice with my beer.
You got the poor man. What they call it, the Bloody Mary.
Poor man Bloody Mary. Yep.
Yeah.
First latte with spicy tomato juice.
But no, I got a couple of different orders for different things. I got a outdoor table that a lady wants me to build.
Nice.
So, and then I'm just trying to build up my website stuff that I want to sell on the website. So,
Yeah.
but
Very cool, man.
those kind of things are going to be more locally because I mean I would have no idea on how to mail a coffee table to somebody. So,
Shite.
Chacha, the flag, the original flags that I made were 24 inches long by 13 inches wide or tall. Or I have the 37 by 19 and a half.
Making everybody happy.
Yeah.
How big? How big is a standard American flag? How big is that? What's
Three
the
by
dimension?
5 by 3 by 5, isn't it?
Yeah. Can you make one of those?
30.
Standard American flag size.
Three.
Yeah, 3 foot by 5 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you make one of those?
that would be huge.
That'd be awesome.
Anything's possible. I got to figure out how to do the union, the flags or the stars. So, but now Chacha wants the big flag.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
Making more work for you.
It's all good.
Now you're like, man, I gotta make more. I gotta make bigger jigs and get a bigger table and bigger wood.
Make a pallet flag. I made a Tennessee one. There you go.
Oh yeah.
I'll look into it. I'll contact my buddy who makes my stars for me, and see.
You know,
we can. What's that?
I can laser star template.
Yeah, I just got to figure out what the union size would be with that. Of course, I would just have to get him 3 by 5 flag and just measure it out. So
I
Yeah.
want to.
What?
I don't know what he's.
He's roboting over there. What happened?
Yeah.
Oh, who knows? He's gonna come up with something. All right. Let's see here. I got $2 on the blue plate. Did I hear like $1 on the paper
Looks like
towels?
Looks like he's got a lot of Twisted tea cans in the sink there.
50 cents for the cans.
There you go. There you go.
Oh,
He's
he's back. Oh, auction's over.
The diameter is 2 inch, 2 inch. From point to point of the stars, 2 inch.
Okay.
So, yeah. Shit off. Man.
Chacha wants the beer in the sink.
Huh?
Chacha wants the beer in the sink.
Too late. I already drank all that. I have a high tolerance. Let's go. But yeah, the standard star is 2 inch by 2. Every point you go to is 2 inch. Well, I mean, unless you go, but yeah, it's 2.
Wow.
We'll look into it. We'll visit that.
Good flag to measure because I didn't want to use the not so good.
Vision says I will pick mine up. You'll pick what up?
Oh, no shipping and handling. He'll just come drive by and get it.
Oh, okay. Oh, his flag. I'm assuming that's what he meant. His flag.
You never know. Still got that freeze dryer.
That freeze dryer stands right where it's at. His flag. Yeah. There you go.
Vision. I don't know. We might get back around.
Well, yeah, I enjoy doing this woodworking stuff. It's
Okay.
my cutting boards are coming along. I did a couple different designs today. So it's stressful, but also stress relief. So
Yeah.
so
Oh,
Oh, he's gone.
We lost Ghost.
But yeah, I just got some new orders for around here, the local area, for different things. That one, I mean, I'll make whatever anybody wants, around here. So, but
Wow. Yeah.
yes, Cha Cha. But yeah, it's coming along nicely. So, but
Very nice. Very
I
nice.
just got to get the website up and running. With my son being in Ohio, maybe he can help. He's computer literate, unlike me. So I can
Uh,
push buttons, but that's about it. So
yeah, I like to make them crash. And, you know,
yeah.
I have a magnetic personality, I say, just around computers.
Well, I'm gonna go about 4 more minutes, hit that 2 hour mark, and I think I'm gonna cut it off. I'm yes, I know a guy too, and I keep forgetting to call that guy and asking him tech support. I need to call tech support.
Yep. Tech support.
Don't push the buttons.
But they're just so shiny.
And he's back.
Hey,
Button.
you pushed a button. Why you push button?
StreamYard on cell phone, not worky for me.
Have a good night,
Okay.
half-ass ready.
Have a good night.
I was like, oh, shit. I'm gone. What the heck?
I need to get a drink, and I need to get food in me. I'm hungry, so we'll go about 2 more minutes and call it a night.
Right on. Right on. So
I
yes,
got
everybody have sweet dreams of how to get rid of your waste. Think of
At least I hope it
solutions.
gets people thinking about it. I mean, it's a we can make jokes about it all we want, and some of them are good jokes, but it's definitely something to think about in a shift situation or an emergency situation, whatever it may be.
Right.
So
Normal single matter compost with organic compost, plants, grass, whatever, takes a year to break down. It's a human's that takes up to 2 years to break down. So that has to be separated. But if you got people in your group that aren't telling you, oh, I've been feeling a little ill, well, you've just contaminated that whole compost pile.
yep.
And then you go over there and you smack them upside the head, kick them nuts, and throw them in the other compost pile.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
We're talking about waste, and KP says we're having stuffed bell peppers. Gotta throw in that food porn.
Gotta love the food porn. Yes. Mm.
And then you got the vision preparedness. Don't put your mouth on it.
Right.
No, I appreciate you coming up and giving your viewpoint on it, Mad Shad, and
Yes, sir.
thank you for coming up, Ghost. Um, it'll be maybe something we can revisit later. I need to do a little bit more research on some things, and we could talk about this again sometime. But I just wanted to bring it to light because I mean, I've heard other channels talk a little bit about it, but at the same time, not very many of them. So getting rid of your trash is going to be something to think about. So, what's that, Ghost?
Well, I said research is king. And like I said in the chat, is trash many years ago used to be, you didn't have styrofoams, you didn't have the saran wraps, you didn't have the, what do they call that, blood coagulant pad they put in the meat. You didn't have all that stuff. Everything was paper packed or butcher paper packed. That stuff burns like toilet paper. But now, a lot of crap you don't want to be burning and you don't want to be smelling because Someone's gonna smell that styrofoam meat tray burning miles away, and
Well,
you can't cook.
And not to mention, it's not, burning styrofoam isn't good for you to be breathing in anyways. So
And you don't want to cook over it. You know, it's yeah.
but like I said, I hope that this brought something for people to think about other than stocking up on your foods and your waters and your protections and your clothing and whatnot. Getting rid of the stuff after you use it is something to think about. So,
Yep.
Learn.
Yep.
well, with
Literally.
that
Learn.
being said, I will let you guys have the last word, and then we'll say goodnight. Go ahead, Mad Chad, or Ghost, whoever.
Continue to train, continue to prep. 'Cause we all know it's a mad, mad world out there. Deploy knife hands.
Ghost.
I'll just say, stay safe, stay prepared, and have some fun. And don't stress over the petty things. Stress over nothing, because stress is bad for you. You don't need it, but always be prepared for the stress.
Let's go.
And Vision said his last word too. All right, folks. With that being said, stay safe, stay vigilant, stay prepped. We'll see you back here next Monday. And of course, we'll see you guys on others' lives like Vision Preparednesses tomorrow. So, till then, have a good night.
Have a good night, everyone.